Well, hello there, everyone, and if it's your first time, hello to the new viewers, as I bring you a weekly series known as Weird Mind Newsroom. And in this case, this is episode 12, where I'm going to be talking about some of the newest releases that have come out this week, which is in the form of the releases in movies and TV shows and games, trailers, and also the news of media. So let's not waste too much time, and let's just get right to it then, shall we?
It was a day on Halloween when the man ran in and he funny screamed.
So in our first release of this week, we are feeling the need for speed with the first of the big film releases of this week, and that is coming to us with the video game adaptation of the popular PlayStation game series of Gran Turismo. Now this will focus on the true story of Jean Mardenborough, a teenage Gran Turismo player who enters into a competition with the game in mind, and soon becomes a professional race car driver for some big corporation. Now, the reception for this movie has been seen as quite mixed, as well the performances have been sort of a highlight, as well as the set pieces of like the racing parts, and most feel it's trying way too hard to be an advertisement for the game itself, but I'm sure it does sound interesting. It doesn't look too bad, and I will probably give this a watch when I get the chance to do so. Now to visit something a bit more supernatural, as we head to a new spooky mansion. A haunted mansion in particular. Now this is based on the ride from Disneyland, and this new film will see a single mother and her child move into a new home that seems to house, I believe, 1,000 spirits, and soon gathers an array of priests, psychics, and investigators, including the likes of Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, and probably Jamie Lee Curtis, as they try to help rid the manor of all the spooks. Now the reception for this film has not been the best, with most of the praise going to the all-star cast, of course, and some of its visuals being pretty well received, but while the sense of spooks and humor are not really that strong. I'm sure that it's probably something, something harmless, and I probably will check it out when I get the chance to do so. I have a lot of films to catch up on, but if you want a bit of a spooky adventure, I'm sure you should be fine. And for the last of the movies that have released this week, we have an all-new action film from Netflix, with the newest moon starring Gal Gadot in a film titled Heart of Stone. Now this new one will see Gadot's character of intelligence officer Rachel Stone, as she must protect a special MacGuffin known as the Heart from falling into enemy hands. Now the reception for this film has been pretty poor, to say the least, a little bit from what I've seen, with likes of her performance well received, Gal Gadot's performance, but it's been affected with the likes of its poor story, its character development, and its action. But I'm sure it will do well with a big name in the title. I mean, usually a lot of time when Netflix films big names like Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, all that do well. So if you want to have a check it out, I'm sure you can check it out now on Netflix. But now, a mystery is afoot, once again, if an all-star trio of true crime podcasters are back once again with the beginning of the third season of Only Murders in the Building. Now this new season is going bigger, with a focus of a sudden death of the main lead to Oliver's Broadway return on opening night. And it's soon up to the trio of Oliver, Charles, and Mabel to solve the mystery and find out who was responsible for the death of the leading man. Now the reception, what I've seen from the series, has been well received, as has the other two seasons. And the series has boasted two big-name cast members join the season, with Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep. Now, I've watched the first two episode premiere from this week, and it did put a smile on my face, and a good bit of laughs, and a good bit of thinking as to try and figure out who was the one responsible for the death. But, it is a good time, and you can check it out now, with every new episode releasing every Tuesday on Disney+. And our final thing for this week is time to experience human things from another perspective. Then you can check out the series of Strange Planet on Apple TV+. That is going to be based on the popular webcomic of the blue alien creatures living on a planet similar to Earth, and learn the ways of what us human species do as humans. Now, reception has been well received from what I've seen, and it really brought the charm and heartfelt to the heart of the comics to the world of moving animation. And if you want to check it out, then you can observe the first 3 episodes with your optical lookers now on Apple TV+. And with that is the end of the new releases for this week.
Outcome? Train go boom.
So for our first trailer for this week, technically did release last week, but by the time this came out, I had already finished recording and got stuff sorted out. So we're going to talk about the new announcement that came out on National Tree Day on Sunday, which was that we're getting a second season to the shorts collections of I Am Groot. Now, this will follow Baby Groot once again on some misadventures from a snow day, intergalactic travel, to obtaining a frozen treat from the ice cream truck. Now, the original batch of shorts were simple and precious kind of thing with a little tiny Groot, and I'm sure there'll be some nice to check out, as well as discuss a certain character that appears in the trailer. It might show up there or there, whatever. But you can check out the array of 4 or 5 new shorts when it releases in a month's time on September 6th. Alright team, alright men and women, and all genders in between. It's time to gear up very soon, as we've been officially given what the announcement of what this year's installment in the long-running Call of Duty franchise is going to be, and this is going to be a follow-up to last year's Modern Warfare 2 game, Modern Warfare 3. Now this, well, technically it's the 2023 version because there's already Modern Warfare 3 from about 12 years ago, but none of that. Well, continuing this story, we'll see Captain Price and his team go on a mission to take down one of the popular antagonists of the series in the form of Makarov. Now, I need to catch up on playing the previous installment, because I have played part 1, before this new game drops onto consoles on November 10th of this year. For a bit more of an action side of things as well, we're going to go back in time and check in on a stay in one of the finest establishments in 1970s New York with the Continental, an all-new 3-part limited series that's based on the world of John Wick. Now, this new one, as I mentioned, is going to be set in New York in the 1970s and will tell the story of the perspective of the young Winston, as he builds his way up to the top of the table and takes over the Continental from the kingpin of the hotel and his army of assassins and hitmen. The kingpin is, I believe, is Mel Gibson. Now, the series is always great to watch of like the John Wick franchise, and this new 3-part event looks pretty cool. And what I've heard for the third part, the last part of it, it's just like a non-stop, like hour-long action scene. And I'm thinking that sounds cool, but I'm sure you can check in with these new episodes when the show drops over here on Amazon Prime on September 22nd of this year. But now let's return to the wonderful world of Pokemon, with an all-new game based on the original handheld spin-off and the popular film adaptation from about 4 or 5 years ago now, in the form of the wisecracking, caffeine-loving Pokemon of Detective Pikachu, with Detective Pikachu Returns. This new game will have Pikachu and his partner Tim Goodman investigate some strange goings-on in Rhyme City, and with the aid of some Pokemon, solve the mystery of the disappearance to Tim's father and Pikachu's original crime-solving partner. Now, I really enjoyed the film and had a good bit of time playing the original game, which I need to get back to finish on, or hopefully they release the first version at the same time as this one on the Switch. But you can get to solving this mystery when the game releases on October 6th of this year. And with that, of course, that is all the trailers that we have for this week. Well, oh boy, we got some news today. So after some rumors and rating system listing a possible return of the original game in the Red Dead franchise, the first game in the Red Dead Redemption series has been announced to be coming to newer consoles in the form of the PS4 and 5 with backwards compatibility and a Nintendo Switch on the go. Now, of course, this isn't a full remaster or remake, but rather it is a port of the original version with some slight upgrades, most likely to fit some features of the console, and will also come with the acclaimed add-on expansion of Undead Nightmare included with it too. Now, this, of course, like any game in the modern day, which I'll probably talk about a video on at some point, has been hit with a lot of debate online as people complain about this feeling like a lazy port and everyone being mad at Rockstar. But honestly, fine with being more than just a simple port than having a rushed mess of a remake. Like, do you really want the GTA Trilogy remaster again? Because I don't think anyone does. And the price point about being $50. Now, most cases what I've seen online, a lot of the secondhand versions of the Game of the Year editions or buying them separately would constitute around that price of 50 quid or slightly lower. I think the lowest I've seen, I think the midpoint I've seen a lot of time is about 30. So an extra 20 is a bit odd, but you know, but most remakes and remasters of ports these days are around that same price. So like, I'm not really much of a complaint about this. I am looking forward to it. Like, and you can play this game in digital format when it releases next Thursday on the 17th of August. And if you want to wait for a physical version, it comes out on the 13th of October, I believe. So at least another 2 months' time. What do you think of this announcement and release? Are you excited to play this game again? Or has the new hardware, like, or all this messiness of, like, complaints about it sort of teased you off a bit? And do you feel that Rockstar has really just kind of underutilized the other games with basically not caring about Red Dead and just, like, milking the fuck out of GTA 5? Let me know what you think down in the comments below and we'll have a discussion about it. This next one I'm going to keep brief, but earlier this year we got the release of the newest live action adaptation from a Disney classic, and that was in the form of The Little Mermaid, a film that was hit with controversy because of the color casting of Halle Bailey as Ariel, because everyone was a bit racist or kind of complained about a person of color playing a redheaded mermaid. Now, I have seen the film, I liked it, I will do a review for this at some point in the next couple of weeks, but it did make some bit of a modest return. It made over half $500 million, so, you know, that's pretty decently for a film and a rough summer of underperforming films. But if you missed out on seeing it, you don't have to wait long, as the film is releasing on September 6th of this year on Disney+, so you can check out Halle Bailey's performance of being part of their world. So what did you think of the film in particular? Did you enjoy the film, if you did see it, or could you give or take it, you know? Let me know what you think thoughts, the opinions down below, and all the other live action films, and we'll have a discussion about those too. But now for some superhero news, and this is coming to a follow-up to last week's news story about Wonder Woman. Now, I mentioned in the previous episode that there had been some discussion about Gal Gadot being in talks with the DC heads of James Gunn and Peter Safran that a third movie in the Wonder Woman franchise was going to be still in the works for the new DCU. Well, it seems that news was short-lived, as just a day or two ago, it was announced that the film was actually not going ahead after all, and really more was a bit of a discussion about the upcoming prequel series of Paradise Lost that will focus on Themyscira's Amazonians. Now, it's not to say the new Wonder Woman film will happen, as you already have a Superman movie with Superman Legacy coming out in 2025, as well as The Brave and the Bold, the Batman film, and usually with Wonder Woman that she completes the Trinity, so it's going to happen. So I'm sure she will probably get a film at some point and make the Amazonian fly again. But also on a bit of a side note with the DCU, another film that had been brought up recently and had a huge campaign behind it, in particular with the Snyder Cut, was that they were going to get the Ayer cut for the 2016 version of Suicide Squad. Now, James Gunn has come out recently and specified that we will see this eventually. He did mention he has plans to make that version released to the public and give it its moment to shine as well. So I could see that definitely happening and, you know, trying to get some good graces, but I have good faith in Gunn. He will definitely get that made and stuff, because apparently he did do the original Suicide Squad, so why not? But what do you think of this discussion, these two DCU stories? Are you disappointed in Wonder Woman 3 not happening, or do you prefer a fresh start? Or do you feel Gal Gadot should come back as the Amazonian? Are you excited to see the Ayer cut for the Suicide Squad as well in the future, or could you take or leave it? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But now we have some updates that are coming to us from the ongoing strikes in Hollywood, with a few varied mix of topics discussed, and since there was a few of them, I wanted to lump them all together in one topic and go over to our other friend of the strike news. So, what do we have this week? Yes, thank you. Yes, we have some news stories related to the ongoing strikes, and a lot of them seem to have a good bit of discussion to them. So, without further ado, let's start with the first one, which is that there has been an announcement at the start of this week that the closest aides to the visual effects studios of the Marvel films in particular have announced they have decided to unionize and possibly end up going into striking as well. Now, this is coming from stories from last year that they've had the worst track record recently of visual effects demands and requirements, as they are underpaid, overworked, and given very confusing requests that may get done and then have days to change it, and have to change a lot of it when the deadline is very much nearer. And I think it's a reasonable thing to do for them to get basically, you know, a bit of a workaround, because let's face it, a lot of the visual effects in superhero movies recently have been pretty much disappointing. There's been some noticeable good ones, like Guardians, and I would say a little bit with Secret Invasion has some decent visuals, but a lot of the time a lot of them don't look finished. And, you know, a lot of visuals, I'm surprised a lot of visual effects studios haven't already started striking. I mean, sometimes a lot of them get uncredited for their hard work, as what I've heard a little bit with Oppenheimer, that 80% of a team that worked on some parts of visual effects for the film, even though it's specified there has been 0 visual effects, were not credited in the film, even though there's been visual effects studios in the credits. But I don't blame Marvel for most of the problems with this, but I blame more of the parent company of Disney. Speaking of Disney, Disney is also one of the main studios being fired at by most of all the writers and actors recently, as they're one of the biggest companies and they nearly own every single big name production company. Now, CEO Bob Iger has stated that he wants to help make the strikes end, but then has also missed the point of why a lot of people are striking, as job listings for Disney have come out basically saying that he wants to implement a division for AI. Yeah, it's the reason a lot of people are basically striking. Now, a factor that you know, this is going to cause a lot of problems, and it seems a bit tone deaf. Essentially, he wants to help stop the strikes, but also applying to the stuff that people are striking for. It's also coming to an aspect from Disney that there has been news that Disney's going to pull a Netflix, which sounds really wrong. But anyway, what I mean is that they are planning to raise the price on their streaming service of Disney Plus, as well as the Disney Plus and Hulu bundle in the US. And by the end of next year, they also plan to do a crackdown on password sharing, and will probably charge more to people for them doing so. Which I think any studio or streaming service doing that is really stupid. Like, I mean, in the case, it's the reason why a lot of people are going to end up doing, you know, either going to cancel their subscriptions, they're going to go back to the golden age of piracy.
You are a pirate!
And there's also going to be a case where, you know, it's going to see huge stock decreases in a lot of companies' stock. But yeah, that's basically all the stuff from Disney. However, there's one last little piece that's coming out from this announcement from the strikes this week, and that is that on Thursday, it was announced that the 75th Emmys that were supposed to be coming out next month have been delayed. The award show was apparently supposed to premiere on the 18th of September, but now it's going to be releasing on the 15th of January of next year. Basically to avoid any ongoing strike stuff, and because no one would end up at the Emmys. Now I was expecting this was going to happen, and questionable now if this is going to affect any of the upcoming film festivals. It's going to affect the delays a lot more stuff, as well as a questionable thing if this is going to affect a lot of media news, or just the case of the Golden Globes and the Oscars next year, but we'll have to see when that happens. But basically that's all the news we have on the strikes, and go back to you in the studio. Well, thank you. Now, what do you think of all this announcement stuff, of all the strikes? Let me know of all your thoughts about them down below in the comments, or, you know, let's have a discussion about it. You know, let's do that. And for our final story for this week is coming to us with a marketing brand of all things, and it's going to be trying in with some upcoming release. Now, if you've been following along with the behind the scenes stuff, or have checked out the trailer for last week for the second season of Loki, you may have seen brief glimpses of the variant of Sylvie wearing some very vibrant and bright clothing, or more from some behind-the-scenes photos from filming. Well, it turns out it's in relation to a segment where Loki will find her working in a mega chain fast food establishment in the 1970s, and will be tying into that restaurant's new promotion. So starting from recording this tomorrow, the 14th of August, McDonald's is doing a new campaign known as Featured In. And part of it will be connected to the upcoming series, with it being some new sweet and sour sauce item and probably some new menu item, but we don't know what the item is. So it's unknown if it's going to be anything else, like it's going to be similar in style to the Spider-Verse Whopper from Burger King, or the Grimace Shake from McDonald's from earlier this year. As this new promo is uncertain whether it's going to be also worldwide, or if it's just going to be a US-based thing, as those other two were just US-based only. And it's just really annoying because I kind of wanted to try that Spider-Verse Whopper, but you know, kind of thing. But anyway, what do you think of all this new promotion? And I have to wonder, what is the meal offer going to be as well? And do you think it's going to be a worldwide thing, or just going to be US based only? Do let me know what you think down in the comments below. And with that, of course, that is the end of the news for this week.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets.
And with that now, of course, that is the end of this week's episode. Now, if you notice I've been a bit jittery lately, it's been a long week. I'm very tired and just, you know. But anyway, there's some bits I want to talk about lately. So, first off, I'm currently writing some more of the reviews. I have a few of them I need to get a glimpse on. Secondly, the long form video essay is coming along well. I believe I've got one more section left, so hopefully I'll have it by the end of this week, by the end of this coming week. So by this next Sunday is by the 20th of August. So let's see how that works. As well, I want to give a little special shout out to a few people. So there was one or two birthdays I missed over the last week or 2 weeks, and I wanted to actually give a little shout out to them. So I want to give a shout out to my good friend Matthew, who had his birthday there on the 2nd of August. So happy birthday, my good man. And, you know, the true Ken you are. I also want to give a good happy birthday to my friend Nate, who I think his birthday was this week as well. And as the time of recording, their birthday will be tomorrow, and I want to give a good happy birthday to my friend Sunny. And I have mentioned Sunny in the past. They'd made the Long Pandemic audio piece, which I hope you can check out. I will probably put a link to it in the description below, if you can check out. But yeah, that's basically all the discussion I have currently right now. And I do hope you enjoyed my ramblings. And yeah, that's all I'm going to have for this week. So thanks for all watching. If you enjoyed my content, why not give it a like? Comment below on all the stuff that I've discussed about this week, my ramblings, and have a discussion about it, like what your opinions are on everything. As so as the case, if you enjoyed it, share around with everyone, and even subscribe if you haven't already. Like, I appreciate every single use of either views, comments, sharing, and subscriptions that everyone shares around. But anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about this week. Of course, I hope you all stay being wonderful people, and I wish you all a really great day, and I will see you all in the next video. So take care, everyone, and have a good day.